Coming up on AgWeek TV. Planting season is off to a rough start in some areas. We'll take a look at planting conditions across the region. Do E15 and higher blends of ethanol have a place at the pump? We'll find out.
The maple sap is starting to flow in central Minnesota, but not nearly as quickly as some producers would like.
And a South Dakota bison rancher combats crazy weather conditions this calving season. Welcome to AgWeek TV. I'm Emily Beal. Field work is picking up around the country, but weather across the Midwest has made for some interesting conditions as we get into this year's planting season. We take a look in this week's AgWeek cover story.
Planters are finally in the field at Jorgensen Land and Cattle in Ideal, South Dakota, just a week after blizzard conditions.
Well, it finally really just got started for us. It's been a really tough winter. I mean, you wouldn't believe it, I guess, but a week ago it was blizzarding here, and now I'm planting in dust. So we are very grateful right now for what we can do now that we can do it.
But this year, planting is very far behind.
And it's actually about, I would say, about a month late. Normally we'd like to be seeding this time March, middle of March or so. And actually in last year, in 2022, we started seeding on Valentine's Day, February 14th. But because of the long winter that we had, we are quite behind.
After a long wait, they're happy to have the planters running in the field again.
It's awesome to finally get out and get some seed in the ground. You never know on spring grains in this part of the world. It's kind of a fine line. If you're not out by April 1st, usually the yield potential drops. But so hopefully we can get this grain up and out of the ground and going.
It's really nice to be back in the field in the tractor. Makes me smile.
But to the east in northern Minnesota, planting was still a ways off in mid-April. A string of days with nighttime and daytime temperatures above freezing melted much of the snow cover in northwest Minnesota, causing ponds of water in fields, but not filling the ditches.
It looks like a lot of that water might be going into the ground, which is a great thing.
Ideally, farmers who raise crops near Crookston, Minnesota would like to be in the field in mid to late April, but wet conditions have delayed that for the past few years. But planting start dates aren't as critical as they used to be.
The equipment that's available today allows the grower to have a little bit more flexibility and a little bit of ability to recover from a late planting date.
But in southern Minnesota, this year's moisture has set producers up for success.
A lot of that snowfall fell on ground that hardly had any frost. It became available soil moisture, so the bank account was low on soil moisture. We had some room to put some of this moisture that we've had this spring, so I think we're in good shape.
However, a weekend snowstorm has caused some planting delays and concerns for producers.
Those soaking wet conditions where it's cloudy all day and drizzly and the soil never even gets a little bit dry, then I really get concerned about it.
You can read much more in the next AgWeek magazine or at agweek.com. A federal judge in North Dakota has stopped the Biden administration's definition of waters of the U.S. in certain states. U.S. District Judge Daniel Hovland granted a preliminary injunction halting the EPA and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers from enforcing the new WOTUS rule in North Dakota, South Dakota, and 22 additional states. American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall is calling it a win for farmers. National Cattlemen's Beef Association president and South Dakota cattle rancher Todd Wilkinson says he's pleased with the news. He says once again the courts have affirmed that the Biden administration's WOTUS rule is overreaching and harmful to America's beef farmers and ranchers. Defining waters of the U.S. has been an ongoing issue since the Federal Clean Water Act of 1972. It remains the subject of several lawsuits in a case awaiting a decision before the U.S. Supreme Court. This month, our AgWeek special report is the future of biofuels. With gas prices continuing to surge, people are looking for alternatives to fill their tanks. Could E15 or higher blends of ethanol have a permanent place at the pump and be a solution? I talked with some industry experts to find out.
Top of mind for drivers is low-cost, affordable fuel. Fortunately, the more ethanol you use, the more you're going to save at the pump and the better for the environment.
Emily Score is the CEO of Growth Energy. She believes E15 and higher ethanol blends have a strong future at the pump and are sought after products. While the EPA bans the sale of E15 during the summer months because of concerns that it contributes to smog and hot weather, she hopes to see E15 sold all year round throughout the country.
High value product that I think consumers are increasingly anxious to be able to access. We've just got to make sure that the policy environment isn't backwards and allows consumers to access this 12 months out of the year.
We keep increasing the blend rate nationally, and especially in Minnesota. Minnesota does lead the nation in blend rate. Around 12.6% of all gasoline sold is ethanol.
Richard Severson farms near Benson, Minnesota, and is the president of Minnesota Corn Growers Association. He has seen the demand firsthand in his state for E15. According to Severson, E15 is approved for all vehicles made since 2001, which is 95 to 97% of all vehicles in Minnesota.
Just for example, last year in Minnesota, we sold 105 million gallons of E15. The average savings per gallon for the consumer was 17 cents. Now, if you do the math on that, that's a lot of real dollars that stayed in some family's pocket simply by choosing the E15 hose.
Besides helping consumers save money, E15 being widely available would really help rural areas.
If we as a nation were to drive on a 15% ethanol blend, right now we're driving on a 10% blend. If you move to a 15% blend, that's an increase in about 7 billion gallons of demand for ethanol. That's 2 to 2.5 billion bushels of corn grind. So that's the increase in demand for the rural economy.
I'm a true believer. It's worked. It's been the best thing that's happened in our area to our ag markets in my farming career.
8 governors in major corn-producing states, including Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, want E15 to be available this summer and have asked the EPA to lift restrictions. Up next on AgweekTV, a South Dakota bison rancher kicks off calving season.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
Since the inception of Vatterstadt, the spirit of innovation has led the company. We push the limits, providing innovative and reliable seeding and tillage solutions that simplify everyday life for farmers. We continue to reimagine the capabilities and technology behind farm machinery, providing customers with a perfect emergence while maximizing their yields. We look forward to growing together.
Dynaflow is the ultimate high-volume water management pump. Whether you're experiencing flooding, emptying sloughs, transferring ponds, or working on irrigation, the Dynaflow pump works in as little as 18 inches of water and is designed to move 3,000 gallons per minute. The Dynaflow lift pump is the perfect upgrade to your drain tile system. Using line shaft turbine pump technology, these pumps are made to last while operating efficiently. Dynaflow drain tile pumps can move up to 1,500 gallons per minute, up to 3,400 feet away.
North Dakota is a leader in ag commodities like corn and soybeans. When farmers and animal ag work together, we can keep more dollars in North Dakota.
Well, the opportunities for North Dakota on the animal ag side is really to add value to our grains that we're shipping out of this state.
We do purchase crops from our neighbors instead of the crops like soybeans and corn and wheat being shipped out of states. They're able to be used within the state, reducing some of those costs to ship those products and increasing the value to farmers within the state.
From adding value to crops to natural fertilizer, it's clear that there are win-win opportunities for animal ag and the crop industry.
Diversification on our farm is huge to make it profitable for the next generation and generations after that. I partner with Animal Ag. There's not a dollar amount that we put on it.
Let's keep North Dakota crops at home. Support growing North Dakota agriculture. Visit animalagnd.com to learn more.
Bison calving season has begun for many bison producers across the country. At Kramer Buffalo Ranch in Custer, South Dakota, there have been newborn bison being welcomed into the world almost every day.
These young bison are exploring the world for the first time. Here at Kramer Buffalo Ranch, calving season is pretty hands-off.
With calving season, it's pretty much just monitoring every few days to make sure there isn't any problems.
They're, for the most part, self-sufficient. They do take care of themselves. It's one of those selection properties that Mother Nature has already implemented a long, long time ago and has been implementing that for a long, long time. So they're really successful at doing it on their own, and they'll likely continue to be very successful at doing it on their own.
Chad Kramer has been working with bison for 30 years, managing different herds across the country, and now his own as well, as the Bison in Custer State Park.
Somewhere in 20-some thousand head that have calved over the 30 years I've been in it. I mean, we've only had difficulties with probably 10 to 12 head in that time. So when you look at the number and percentage-wise, it's pretty low.
In South Dakota, the weather this past week has been extreme, going from blizzard conditions to temperatures in the 80s and 90s, which can affect the bison as they calve.
The biggest thing it can do is it can kind of either trigger them to calve a little early or hold it and wait.
Welcoming new bison into the world in not ideal conditions.
You know, we had 15 to 30 inches of snow right here in the area a week ago, and now most all of it's gone, and we're 80 degrees today. So it actually is probably a little bit more of a stressor on the bison because they still have their winter coat on them right now. So these warm days like this are actually a little harder on them than those colder days.
Kramer saw his first bison calf at the beginning of April and hopes to finish calving season around the middle of May. He expects to have 85 new calves this year. The past 5 years have been rough on dairy farmers, and many are feeling the brunt of input costs. The COVID-19 pandemic and federal milk price regulation changes are some of the main issues impacting dairies financially. Danny Munch, an American Farm Bureau Federation economist, says dairy producers are having a hard time just breaking even.
Some of the ERS economic research statistics show that on average, dairy farmers are losing about $6, over $6 a hundredweight. Putting in about $27 a hundredweight and only coming back with about $21 a hundredweight on average. For small farms under 50 cows, that jumps up to a loss of over $20 a hundredweight.
University of Minnesota Extension dairy specialist Brad Hines has seen dairies diversify to try to improve their profitability and combat financial struggles, such as adding dairy beef production to their operation and on-farm processing.
We've been seeing increased feed prices, year over year, whether it's corn, commodities, alfalfa, and that's really affecting the bottom lines of the dairy farms. Milk prices increased, in some parts of the last 5 years, but it's kind of softening now again. So it's kind of that feed milk balance really on a dairy farm, trying to make it work economically.
AFBF is working to help farmers with federal milk pricing reform. Ramen noodles are rolling off the conveyors at Albany Farms in Belle Fourche, South Dakota, and onto grocery store shelves across the United States and Canada. Their twisted noodles are wheat-based ramen noodle. Right now, the company sources all their wheat out of Kansas, and their vegetables and spices are imported. But their goal is to be able to manufacture a domestically made ramen noodle and source their wheat directly from South Dakota producers.
We would like to have the wheat producers in South Dakota sell their wheat to us to make our own flour and make our own ramen from there.
The first ramen was produced in the plant in August of 2022, and since then, the company has seen a great response from consumers. Twisted noodles can be purchased at 305 Target locations across the United States, H-E-B, and Walmart in Canada. They plan to expand their retailers within the next few months. Up next on AgweekTV TV, South Dakota FFA members gather for their state convention.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you too can protect the price for your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP for short, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your calves. Cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from lack of rainfall with Pasture Rangeland Forage, or PRF insurance. This is a very affordable way to help producers in times of below average rainfall. Call the Risk Management Specialist, Martinson Ag Risk Management.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade.
featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a super coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
How'd they find me out here? Huh. Current resident. They don't even know who I am. Fifth downtown location. Why would I care?
Find a bank that cares about what you really need. Cornerstone Bank.
Built in North Dakota and delivered across the Midwest, every Pinky home is a custom home, designed for your family, built by ours. And with our on-site lumberyard and generations of experience, we can help build the home of your dreams without breaking your budget. Build something that lasts. Build with Pinky Homes. Get to know us and see all of your customization options at pinkyhomes.com.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
AgWeek Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Are these warmer days here to stay? Here's John with our AgweWeather outlook.
From the winter that wouldn't quit in the far northern plains, it's now the spring that's really having trouble warming up. It looks like the cool weather pattern in the northern plains and many areas of the Great Lakes will persist on into May, with some variation. As the sun climbs higher, you do get warmer and warmer weather, but no real appreciable warming pattern. There is going to be a little bit of a shift in the pattern, though. I do look for the wet weather that has been rather persistent in some parts of the northern plains and upper Midwest to begin to shift more southward in this pattern. And I do look for a general drying trend to take place over much of the United States, as the rain will be focused down in the southern part of the country, with the north and the west looking mostly dry. Let's go to the weather pattern. Here we go. Jet stream pattern as we begin this here on the weekend. Fairly cool weather into the Great Lakes, northern plains. Not really frigid weather. That's, of course, retreated this time of year. But the jet stream still kind of coming out of the northwest, and we've just had some rain and snow, so temperatures still struggling to cool down. The dark blue, the cold, is mostly near or below freezing highs, and that is mostly in Canada and in the Rocky Mountains. But a lot of 40s and 50s in this light blue area. Deep south, Florida, South Texas, the Southwest have some pretty hot weather. A lot of those spots in the 80s and 90s, but the rest of the nation not really particularly warm, largely because of this deep low pressure trough jet stream staying pretty far south. If this were wintertime, this would be an Arctic air outbreak, but as it is getting on toward the end of April and the start of May, it's just cool weather. But as you can see, cool it will remain from North Dakota to western New York and as far south as Illinois and Indiana and Ohio. Meanwhile, as we go forward, this ridge of high pressure out west will pull warm weather northward. All that snowpack in the Sierra is going to start melting as we get into May, and if the pattern remains warm, I am concerned that flooding will be a real problem in some areas out west like the Central Valley as those snows melt. Meanwhile, in the northern plains, this is not a pattern that is likely to bring a lot of heavy precipitation. In fact, the only place that really looks wet, and I'll show you this in just a minute, is down here where the jet stream is delivering cool temperatures into the mid-south. That area will likely stay fairly wet over the next couple of weeks. Now we're into the first full week of May. Jet still looking fairly cool, but maybe beginning to show some signs of retreat. Precipitation, not a lot. I do look for some Colorado snow this week and rain and thunderstorms across the southern plains and the southeastern states, segueing into early May. Not saying this entire area will be bone dry, but it does not look particularly wet. The showers and thunderstorms looks like they'll continue down across the south and up the eastern seaboard. And at least as the snow melts in California, they won't be getting rain.
I'm Peter Bosch. I've been working with Gateway Building Systems for a little over 20 years now. I chose Gateway Building Systems to build my shop because I wanted a building that could both be used for my equipment and as a place for my family to hang out and do things. I would advise anybody that's thinking about working with Gateway to go in and talk to the guys there, tell them your plans and your future dreams, and let them design something for you.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
We farm up by Drayton, North Dakota. It's a family farm. We have about 2,500 acres and we grow sugar beets, wheat, and soybeans. So we use the Nano CS, which is in with our calcine and our regular starter in sugar beets. And then throughout the year when we're spraying Roundup, we use the Nano Pro to help with the efficacy of that. And later in the year when we're doing Cercospora spraying, we add in the Nano K to help try and boost the sugars a little bit. On the beans, we've been using the Nano Pack, the Nano Stress, and the Nano Pro with the Roundup there as well. And then this is the first year we're going to be trying their Nano K or Nano N product, which is a nitrogen one. So it's kind of the next wave and stuff that farming's always been on the cutting edge on some of these things, whether it's the GPS or any of these technologies. Now when we're getting into the chemical and the soil side of it, this nano technology that these guys have and able to get it into the plant faster, moving faster. This is kind of the next wave I think that's going to be coming here, and these guys are on the leading edge of it for sure.
Don't miss out on the equipment you'll need next season. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer, has early order discounts on its full line of powerful, efficient, new Case IH equipment, including tractors, combines, and self-propelled sprayers. Get a great deal and ensure that you have the latest in productivity and technology. Supply chains are tight. Contact your Titan Machinery dealership today and find out how much you can save by ordering ahead. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH equipment experts.
More than 2,500 South Dakota FFA members gathered for their 95th State FFA Convention in Brookings this week. Students competed in contests, heard speakers, attended the career fair, and did community service events, all while meeting other members from across the state. The sea of blue corduroy jackets returned to the South Dakota State University campus as students from around the state gathered for State FFA Convention.
Seeing everybody in the blue jacket is a great experience. You know, it has a lot of meaning behind it, and just knowing everybody's here for the right reasons.
During convention, students had the chance to give back to the community by packing 50,000 meals for Meals of Hope, which will be donated to Feeding South Dakota and distributed to families in need within the state.
It's pretty great. It's kind of fun getting to know other people and knowing that you can work together as a whole group.
That's a good thing to do with just you get to have fun, talk to others, and do something good for help.
Members Emily Robbins and Amara Rowland are hoping to continue their FFA experiences by becoming state officers this year.
It would be important to me because I'd be able to give back to all the members and be able to provide a lot of opportunities that I have received and spread the word about them to all sorts of people.
Becoming a state officer would mean giving back to the community that has given so much to me.
Coming together to celebrate all that FFA has accomplished this year and looking ahead to the future of the organization.
There's a very big social aspect to it. You get to meet a lot of new people and make a lot of connections.
South Dakota FFA has 5,500 members and 109 FFA chapters across the state. Are snowy winter and late spring taking a toll on the maple syrup?
The team at North Star Ag is committed to quality and committed to you. We're not just a full-service dealer, we're farmers too, so we know you need the best machinery and services that'll keep you going all season long. We have the largest equipment inventory in the upper Midwest with a well-equipped parts and service department. So whether you need machinery tomorrow or parts today, stop in and experience what North Star Ag can offer on our website at northstar-ag.com or give us a call at 701-361-4790.
When the water's high and your yields are low, 'cause your fields have no place for water to flow, just one call takes care of it all. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage. The experts in the field.
Spray Advantage is a full-line, full-service dealer with everything you need for fertilizer and chemical applications, like electronics from Microtrack and Raven, pumps by Banjo and John Blue, a full line of poly parts, tanks, and spray tips. We support the equipment we sell with factory-trained service technicians and a well-stocked parts department. It's our commitment to offer you quality products at competitive prices with the best financing options available. Spray Advantage, proudly serving North Dakota and Minnesota.
The Cray Revolution Ditcher is the new standard for surface water management. The Revolution Ditcher leaves a smooth finished 5-foot flat bottom cut and cuts up to 10 inches in one pass. Throw dirt in either direction, up to 165 feet. Now with the hydraulic cross auger to break up dirt and keep you working faster. Check out the Revolution Ditcher at Crary.com.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Brimmer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
Our snowy winter and late spring are taking a toll on the maple syrup business in central Minnesota. But Jim Hines, who owns the Broken Heart Sugar Company, isn't losing heart. He says although the cold weather has slowed the sap run, he still hopes to salvage the season. Hines started the company about 3 years ago. He started tapping trees around March 17th and by early April had harvested just 225 gallons of sap. That's far from his usual amount. It takes 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup.
Is this season going to be great? No, I don't expect it to be at all. But, hopefully we can make 50 or 75 gallons of syrup. I had expectations of at least a couple hundred, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Hines sells his syrup at businesses in Wadena and Otter Tail counties and gives some of it away to friends. Stories you'll only see on AgweekTV.com and an AgWeek magazine this week. A renewable aviation fuel can make a new market in South Dakota's corn industry. And the new Precision Ag Director at Lake Region State College looks to the future of agriculture. We appreciate you watching AgWeek TV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a wonderful week, everyone.